LP Conroe, and 106.1 KZCC LP Conroe, and worldwide on irlonestar.com.
Shall we begin? Let's begin now.
Hello and welcome to the Ticket Stub, your favorite place for movie news and reviews. My name is Connor, coming live from downtown Conroe. I'm joined in studio, as always, by Chris Appel. How you doing, bud?
Doing well. You
feeling good after Eat, Pray, Love?
Oh, no.
We're also in studio with us is Dick Schisler.
Hey.
I'm going to try and get like a little more announcer-like, you know? Weighing in at 200 I don't know.
It's Dick.
Yeah. Welcome, everybody.
Coming
Glad y'all
down
are
from
here.
south, coming up north.
What are you talking about? Coming
Coming
live
down from
every
south.
Thursday on 104.5 and 106.1 FM in the Conroe area. You can also listen worldwide on irlonestar.com/TTS. Find out information about the show. Follow us on social media, Twitter at @_Ticket Stub. You can always email us, ticketstubpodcast@gmail.com. Also, we are right now, we're Facebook Live, we're YouTube Live, we're coming at you live. So if you watch the Facebook, or if you stumble across the Facebook Live, please share that. Because when you share it, then the people that follow you can see it, and we can get more people that might be interested in listening to the show and hearing all the great, wonderful things we have to say, like what Dick was just talking about, coming from the South and coming to the North.
Yeah.
Jokes like that. You know, they need to hear. The people need to know. So also, if you'll subscribe to our podcast, it drops every Friday morning at 8 a.m. And if you would do like a 5-star review and maybe say, man, best thing in the entire world
Next to Eat, Pray, Love.
Exactly. Yeah. We are the Eat, Pray, Love of movie podcasts. Would you say that?
Oh, no. I hope not.
Hope not.
I hope not.
Well, we keep talking about Eat, Pray, Love because today we are going to be doing our group rewind of the movie Eat, Pray, Love. Normally we talk about the movies that we have each seen individually, but once a month we come together in the center of a Venn diagram where we have all watched the same thing. And unfortunately for this month, it was Eat, Pray, Love. And we will talk plenty more about that as the show goes on. But before we get too far, we're also going to talk about some movie news. And later in the show, we're going to give away 2 tickets to Tastefest in Conroe, as well as 2 tickets to the Grand Theater. And you also have a chance to win more tickets to the Grand Theater on this show, as well as we're giving away our last set next week of tickets to Tastefest, which is on June the 7th. And it's where you get local vendors.
Well, I mean, we can give it away next week, but you got to come pick them up because that's the day of Tastefest.
Well, that's what you said, though. You said we were going to give away 2 tickets each week.
I'm just letting them know.
Oh, so they need to come get them like day of if they win on next week's show. Okay, well, we'll do it and see if they claim them or not.
Hey, if they don't show up, and
think maybe
I'll go.
Chris is hungry.
Yeah,
I'm hungry right now, man.
Yeah, you want to go to Taste Fest?
Yeah, let's Back to the Future this and let's go.
Let's do it. 88 miles per hour. Also, not only do you get all the vendors and the food, but you also get 2 tickets for free drink coupons.
Yeah.
So you get it's a $50 value or $40 depending on when you buy it, but a great value. So
stay tuned for that.
Stay tuned for that. That's what I'm trying to say. What we're going to do is we're going to start before we hop into Eat, Pray, Love. We're whetting the appetite. Hopefully you watched it in advance or have seen it before. If not, if you wanted to, you could press pause, and in 2 hours and 20 minutes, you could resume this show and listen and catch up with everything about Eat, Pray, Love. But before we go too far, we're going to talk movie news. Every week we talk about different things that are going on in the world of cinema, at the theaters, et cetera, et cetera. Article from Forbes.com talking about Solo. Solo is underperforming in the box office. We talked about it last week. But it's only done about 84 to 100 million, depending on which weekend forecast you look at. And they were predicting quite a bit more than that. And so this article from Forbes asked the question, is Solo doing poorly because it had a white male lead?
I think that
hot take.
I think that article in itself is pretty ridiculous to even insinuate that. I don't know. It's
okay. So
no, the guy doesn't look anything like Harrison Ford. He doesn't act like Harrison Ford. People know Harrison Ford as Han Solo. This guy has none of those qualities.
He had some hair though. He had the coif hair.
He's like a television actor.
These are the type of movies that I feel are greatly affected by word of mouth and reviews, because it's kind of like, if you're a fan of them, if you're a fan of Star Wars, I feel like as a fan of Star Wars, I'm burnt out of the new Star Wars. Like I haven't seen the Han Solo. I had no desire to see it.
Yeah.
There's zero desire unless it's like on Netflix. I might check it out, but I think that's really what hurts it now is people are waiting to hear if it's good or not, and then we got pretty bad reviews. I heard the cinematography is like it's almost makes it unwatchable, like literally unwatchable.
Yeah,
because the how dark it is.
I saw it.
Like the lighting's dark. Not
wasn't good. Wasn't very good. So this article, at first I was furious when I heard the initial claims.
Yeah,
and then the author of the article kind of comes around to say, well, there's plenty of examples of movies with white male leads that do very well, as you can imagine, and there's plenty of examples of diverse cast.
well, who wrote this though? Say the person's name, because I think people need to. We got to know which idiot wrote this.
It was written by
clickbait.
Scott Mendelson, who is himself a white male, which is kind of sickening, if you ask me. And so, anyways, and then he starts to come around and say, like, obviously, some minority-based movies don't do as well. His point was, some of these movies, like The Rock, is doing huge overseas, or Wonder Woman was really successful, or Black Panther was really successful, and then Solo wasn't that successful. But he kind of comes to terms. So in the middle of the article, I was like,
we need to find a way to say. So is The Rock black, or is he?
He's like Samoan, I think, like half Samoan or something.
Okay.
I don't know. He's ethnic. Is that a fair way of saying that? He's got some ethnicity of some sort.
Okay.
As I guess we all do. But by the end of the article, what the author was saying was, what we really need is more of these movies that are specifically cast towards either minority groups or towards certain gender groups. Like he said, the reason why Girls Trip was so successful is because it was kind of like a black female empowerment movie, or the reason it was successful was it had this
Tyler Perry
had these looks.
Yeah,
and so
can we not call a good movie a good movie?
Thank you, Chris.
I mean, does it have to always be about either who's white and who's black? If it's just a good movie, Girls Trip was just a good movie. It was funny. I don't know why
whoever
it has to
you
be that way.
casted, like ethnicity wise, and Eat, Pray, Love, I probably hate it just the same.
Yeah, it could be any ethnicity, any
I
gender.
would
agree.
hate it just the same.
I agree with you.
Equally bad. And they have some, Javier Bardem at least is Hispanic or Brazilian or whatever.
Well, actually, hot take. People were upset that he portrayed a Brazilian because he's not Brazilian, he's Spanish, and his Portuguese isn't the same as Brazilian Portuguese.
Oh, racist.
Just to let you know, it was bad.
Yeah, not good. But yeah, Chris, thank you, because I agree exactly on what you're saying. I'm so tired of this whole thing. And as I was typing that out, I was like, well, then other people would probably say, well, that's your white privilege that you get to be tired of this conversation.
It's going to be around till the president is gone. That's the only. It's going to die down because no one's really going to care anymore.
Well, except for it was still there when Obama was president too. So I don't know that it's just Trump.
I don't think it was questioned every single time though. Like we're talking about really this movie's okay. So if we're going to take the same actions, that means Jurassic World 2 is going to do bad because Chris Pratt is he's the main lead in that movie,
and he's white and
he's white. I mean, do you think that movie's going to do bad just
That's
because
what I'm
of
saying.
that?
This guy's an idiot. Yeah, wrote this article. He's an idiot.
Well, he's a clickbait. He's just 100%
completely.
pandering.
Well, we're talking about it.
Well, we are, and so the reality is that Solo is just not that good of a movie. I mean, if you want to talk about why it's underwhelming, people are burned out, I think, on Star Wars. This is not is this the movie people were clamoring for? The Han Solo origin story? I don't know.
I mean, I was kind of worried when we would hear Star Wars every year and then one in the summer, and I was worried about oversaturation. And this may be starting to be what that is, but I mean, we'll just have to see the next time the summer or the Christmas.
Well, what they should have done is during the sagas, the actual Star Wars, and they do that every other year, and in between every other year, you do a story, and that way they can either
which is what they did with Rogue One. Yeah. There was every other year was a major tentpole, and then Rogue One was the next Christmas. But this one is what it has come out just 5 months after the last Star Wars movie. It wasn't long enough for people to want another one.
Well, I think they're also probably testing it out.
Well, maybe so.
They're trying to see if they could release a summer movie, and then
the best part was
I don't know if I'd want to spend $200 million on a test.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me? We're talking about Disney here.
Yeah.
That was worth it.
I guess. I'm sure eventually they'll make their
merchandise alone. That was worth it.
If they
probably
they'll make their money back.
They're gonna have a Han Solo ride at Disney World here, regardless if the movie does bad.
Is that real, or are you just saying that?
I bet you they do.
I don't know if the movie does bad. They might have a Star Wars one, but they're not gonna. Well, we'll see. We'll see.
Well, when we say bad, it's still made a ton of
$100 million.
Yeah, and I mean, you got Halloween coming up. People are gonna want to be Han Solo.
Yeah.
Well, we'll see what happens, but.
And that would be different from every other year.
Yeah, I guess.
No, I mean now it's back again because younger kids you can be like, yeah, I saw that movie.
Okay.
Generally, if it was a better movie, I think it would be more successful. Which white or black or whatever. I don't know that that's the part that I hope that's not what.
How does that even make sense? Because Lando
Calrissian
Calrissian is in there.
is black.
Donald Glover.
Yeah, and he was.
So what are you saying exactly?
He was probably one of my favorite parts of the movie, and so
he's always pretty good.
I don't know. I guess he was more of a minor. That's a good point because I don't even know. I guess he's just in the other Star Wars. It was a female and then a black guy are the two main characters, and they're more. But you're comparing apples to oranges, I think, at that point. All right, FoxNews.com. Here we go. Happy Time Murders is the movie with puppets and Melissa McCarthy, where
it's so funny.
It's an R-rated. It's an R-rated puppet movie, and there was Sesame Street or whoever Sesame Street is run by was suing because they were saying it was infringement and that it was too similar. They didn't like that the tagline is "No Sesame, All Street." They were saying that is
that really is a great tagline.
That is a little bit whatever. But I was thinking, what a great sentence to say that that Sesame Street is suing over an R-rated puppet movie.
Well, what I don't understand is I'm not sure what the disconnect is. Brian Henson directed Happy Time Murders.
Exactly.
Jim Henson's son.
Yeah, exactly.
So where is he not even involved in the Sesame Street that the Henson Studios?
No, someone bought Sesame Street. Someone bought them. It was like over the last 10 years. I remember.
Did they really?
Yeah.
So Brian said in this article that he was doing it to pay honor to his dad, to pay honor to Sesame Street, which is kind of ironic. I don't know Jim Henson at all. Maybe he was like, in the same way that Bob Saget was like the, happy,
loving dad,
but then he's like the darkest comic of all time. Maybe Jim Henson had like a dark side.
I really am surprised they haven't done something like this sooner.
Yeah.
Like right when Superbad came out, or like the what was that? Forgetting Sarah Marshall made that joke about the puppet opera.
Yeah.
Like I was like, some people will want to go see that. And
when I see Van Helsing, I swear I'll slay him. I love that. I mean,
it's funny, and like people laugh at that, and the script writes itself.
Well, it's fish out of water kind of stuff, right? Like you don't expect puppets to be cursing or being explicit or anything like that.
Well, there was a movie by, and I forget it, but Peter Jackson did it back in the day. It's Meet the Feebles is what it's called, and it's a puppet movie. It's very, very offensive. Actually, that's what we should watch.
Okay,
but it's Meet the Feebles, and it's way over the top, offensive and violent.
So maybe that was kind of the.
And that was I want to say it was in the early '90s or mid '90s. He did that. So
okay,
it's not a new idea.
Well,
but I kind of get why they're irritated.
Yeah, I mean, it is whether or not they should have won the lawsuit, which they didn't. They lost the lawsuit. It is obviously ripping off Sesame Street. Yeah. I mean, even when you see the preview and you look at the different puppets they're using, I mean, that not only do they look like Sesame Street, but they look similar to the actual characters from Sesame Street. I guess not enough to be legally.
But I like that the only thing about the lawsuit was the tagline.
Yeah, well,
that's the only thing.
I think that was what they were citing, at least as part of the infringement. It was like, look, they're even using our name in the tagline. Yeah. And the judge was like, I don't see it. I'm sorry. Move on. All right. Last thing before we go to break.
Connection.
Yeah, this is quick. The aviationist.com had an article about Top Gun 2. They've released a teaser poster, and it features Tom Cruise standing in front of an F-18 Super Hornet, which happens to be my favorite of the jet airplanes.
Is it really?
Ever since I was a kid, I just thought it would look the coolest. I don't really know.
I like the stealth.
I think and they all look the same to me.
Oh, you ignorant, you swine. No, the F-18 is obviously the coolest of all the jets. I don't know if that's true or not, but I always like it. Top Gun 2, we've talked a little bit about it here on the show. I know it's still a long ways off. They're doing the teaser to build a little hype. Are we excited? Are we not excited?
I don't know. I just don't think that white male lead can pull that off.
That's so true. Man.
I don't know.
Maybe he'll like hook up with an Indian chick or something like that in the movie while he's flying over doing some missions. Ooh, maybe he'll crash land.
What would be great is that when Fallout comes out and it just breaks records or whatever, we tweet this guy. I'll be like, do you think they made so much money because it has a white lead? Jesus.
Anyways, Top Gun 2.
The weird thing about the plot, I read the plot about it.
Okay.
Is it's supposed to do like he's getting old and the new age is doing drones. So that's
but the drones don't have the intuition of a human.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really know what they're going to do.
That movie Stealth.
We saw that movie Stealth. So, I mean, that's the only thing that could really redeem itself if they bring back Goose in a flashback.
Oh, okay. Not in the real. Okay. What if, oh my gosh, what if they put Goose's mind, somehow they like harvested his mind and put it in one of the drones?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, then all of a sudden Goose can pilot, but then he gets struck by lightning like in Stealth and turns evil. and Mav has to
This
fight.
is what happens with like remakes.
Boom! Top Gun 3.
Well, it happens. They always do this in remakes or whatever sequels that are from 20 years ago. Is they're going to bring back like little hints of the last movie. So is Tom Cruise going to do another song karaoke style?
Oh,
is he going to do that? We don't know.
I'm going to put the line on him doing that. It's like 3-1.
Is he
will sing.
Is he still riding that motorcycle everywhere?
Yeah, well,
is he still going to be doing that?
He rides a motorcycle in every single movie.
We need another volleyball scene.
Ooh.
And are we? What's the opening montage? What's going to be the opening montage? Is it going to be the people?
Will Danger Zone play?
Yeah, like playing.
We need to get some prop bets here. Yeah, we need to get some. We need to get like Vegas involved with. Will there be Danger Zone? Will there be whatever? I'm sure this will be very derivative of the first one. I bet that at some point he says something like, "This is my last mission," or "I'm trying to retire," or "I'm too old for this," or those trope lines from all the old movies. All right, we got to go to break.
What they could do is, the Air Force is like running out of pilots.
Mm-hmm.
That's like a true story. They're having trouble like retaining pilots, so they could be like, "We need you to come out
of retirement." Yeah, a lot of times in action movies they have to come out of retirement, and for one last mission because they're the best, right?
Yeah.
Because you are the best. We got to go to break. When we come back, we're going to start our group rewind. I can never say that. Group rewind. Later in the show, we're going to give away 2 tickets to Taste Fest in Conroe, as well as 2 tickets to the Grand Theater. So stick with us here on the Ticket Stub.
The Ticket Stub is brought to you in part by Movie Tavern, with 2 locations serving the greater Houston area. 18359 Tomball Parkway, just north of Willowbrook Mall, and 9630 FM 1960 Bypass West, across from Deerbrook Mall. The Ticket Stub is sponsored by Movie Tavern. Movie Tavern. Movies never tasted so good.
Hey guys, this is Connor.
This is Dick.
This is Chris.
And we're with the Ticket Stub Podcast every Thursday live at noon on 104.5 and 106.1 FM in the Conroe area. Also, anytime at irlonestar.com. You go to irlonestar.com/TTS. You can find all of our social media.
And don't forget, we give away 2 tickets to the Grand Theater on every show.
If you like movies and you like complaining or celebrating anything that has to do with the silver screen, check out the Ticket Stub Podcast and join us every Thursday at noon o'clock on Lone Star Community Radio.
Does your company have needs that can be met by an employee who is dependable, hardworking, enthusiastic, motivated, cooperative, respectful, and punctual? Conroe Independent School District Special Education Department can meet your needs by connecting you with potential employees that have been preparing for a lifetime of employment. We have numerous individuals seeking paid and unpaid work experiences. If your company is interested in seeing how we can meet your business needs, call Conroe ISD Special Education Department to find the best employees for you at 936-709-7671.
Lone Star Community Radio is ready for the summer. If you or anyone you know is looking for a summer internship, Lone Star Community Radio is a great place to learn the radio and TV business. Contact the station at info@irlonestar.com or call the station's message line at 936-647-3776. Lone Star Community Radio offers a great opportunity to those interested in learning about the radio world.
We're back on the Ticket Stub. If you missed the first segment, we talked news, including white males ruining the box office.
Oh, great.
Happy Time Murders winning a lawsuit, and Top Gun 2 plot. That was a pretty good little recap right there. That was better than usual.
Okay, so I know we're going to talk about Eat, Pray, Love, and we talked about it a little off the air, but if you're listening, I want to hear, in these movies like Top Gun, there's always a bad guy. So this, for the past 10 years, it's been terrorists. And 10 years before that, it was the North Koreans.
Okay.
And then 10 years before that, it was the communists.
Okay.
Either being the Russians or the Cubans.
I think Russians might be back in style.
Memory.
Yeah.
He's got a good memory.
So
Russians might be back in style though.
Who's going to be the new bad guy? Is it going to be warlords?
Well, the problem is they have to have air capability. For Top Gun, it can't be like the Central African Republic or anything, because I don't think they have a lot of fighter jets. I don't know that, so I apologize if I'm wrong. But it's got to be like a pretty modern country to be in the thing about the original Top Guns was it was like the MiGs and it was all about that, right?
Yeah.
So I would think it would have to be either like China or Russia or maybe North Korea, something like that. North Korea seems
Or they could
prime.
actually have a plot.
No. They're not going to do that.
So I was just wondering,
I say internal guy that goes rogue.
Oh, that's always a good one too. Yeah.
Well, what I was thinking, what it could be is he gets hired by a foreign government who bought all the airplanes from the 80s, and they go,
and he's the expert at flying.
And he's like, we want you to train our boys, and like, oh yeah, and they train. So the first like 30 minutes is him training, and then they do their first mission, which is to blow up this hospital, and it kills all these babies.
Oh,
and the guy's like,
dark.
He's like, oh man, I can't believe I trained these guys. I gotta take them down. And then he goes rogue,
Okay. I don't think so.
No.
I mean, I was just thinking, I don't.
The part where he bombs the baby nursery or whatever is where I think
that'd be great. You already have the scene where it's just the peaceful playing with the little shaker.
Oh no!
Oh look, a plane.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't remember Terminator 2 when she's sitting there going, like burning alive. You don't remember there's kids dying on the seesaw?
Yeah. We'll see. Hey, let's just leave it at that. We'll see.
Yeah.
All right. Time for the group rewind. Every month we do.
Talk about how I internally felt while watching this movie. The apocalypse
Yeah.
happening. I'm just shaking the
While
gate.
watching Eat, Pray, Love, we all did it together. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to talk kind of segment by segment. The movie is very almost episodic, I would say. It's broken up into like scenes.
That's not the word I'd use.
Well, there's several other words that you could also use, but broken up into
We'll
scenes.
do the synopsis first.
Yeah, first we'll do the synopsis. So Eat, Pray, Love. We'll get this stuff out of the way. From 2010, it's PG-13, written and directed by Ryan Murphy, who does, I think this is maybe his only movie. He's done a lot of TV. Surprisingly enough, he hasn't been asked to do a ton of movies after this. He did Glee and American Horror Story and some other TV shows. It has a really actually a pretty good cast. You'd expect the movie to be better quality based on who's in it. It's Julia Roberts, Billy Crudup, James Franco, Viola Davis, Richard Jenkins, and Javier Bardem are the main stars. Also, Mike O'Malley with a random cameo. That's kind of strange.
Unusual, yeah.
So the IMDb plot says a married woman realizes how unhappy her marriage really is and that her life needs to go in a different direction after a painful divorce. Was it painful? I don't know. After a painful divorce,
it didn't seem like it.
She takes off on a round-the-world journey to quote-unquote find herself.
So I'm going to have to say a warning about my comments, because I realized while taking notes while watching this movie, I sounded very single-minded.
Sexist is what you mean.
Yeah, you can call it that. You can brand me.
But really, is that different than any other movie?
And that's
that
one
you
thing.
review
I
on the
watched
show?
it with my fiance, and I kept asking her, I was like, if I said something like this, what does it sound like? She's like, yeah, that's.
What's funny, did we all watch this with our wife, girlfriend, fiancés?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
I was asked to wait. So I was going to watch it, and now I've learned that you've always got to ask them or her, not them. I don't have multiple. So
it was a struggle for me because I asked my wife, she's like, I'm not going to watch that bleep. And I was like, well, okay. So I kind of had to coax her into it over the
you look
days.
at her till death do us part.
Yeah, really.
Eat, Pray, Love.
Well, a couple other things about the movie. It is adapted from a book. I could have been really ignorant, but I didn't.
I didn't know it was a book.
I would say about 10 minutes into the movie, I thought this narration sounds like it was written by an author, like not just a movie. It was very like over the top.
Well, it was like they took a chapter, and in the chapter there were so many good quotes,
and they had to include them.
And then like that dialogue, you could totally tell during the scene at in Italy where they're having like a group lunch.
Yeah, and
they're talking about what word is.
Oh yeah.
And I was like, I feel like this is a conversation that happened more than once in the book, but then they let's condense it down.
They got the best of everything, the highlight reel. Yeah, well, it was written by Ryan Murphy. I feel like he just highlighted different things from the book he liked.
Oh, he wrote the screenplay?
Yeah, he adapted it. So and not only is it a book, it's a true memoir. The author of the book, this is her life. Oh, well, you said you didn't even know it was a book, and now you're so confident of that part.
Well, now I've been.
Oh, okay. You did some research. Okay, so I figured that out through the movie later, because later I was like, "Is this true?" After I was like, "Is this a book? Is this?
It has to be true. It's so god awfully boring. Like a normal life.
A real script would have been interesting.
Yes.
Well, do you think in real life, if somebody acted this way in front of you, you would think they're a little off?
Yes,
she sucked.
She's a little off. The main character.
Yeah, and the fact that you wrote this,
Liz Gilbert. I
hope Liz in real life didn't like the movie because it makes her seem terrible.
Oh no, I got to follow up after we're done with the follow up of Liz over here.
Okay, well, good. So, just on a general movie point, the way that they shot this movie, especially the first half, especially in Rome, was very tough for me to watch. I feel like it had weird cuts. I don't know. I feel like I noticed like cuts sometimes, like how it's edited, and it would randomly be like a shot looking down, and then a shot looking up, and then a shot close up of the mouth, and then a shot of the spaghetti, and then a shot of her, and then a shot of a car driving by, and then a fountain. My God, this is like.
Well, you know, okay, let's get to that later. Let's get to the little episode she goes to. The opening of the movie is what really got me, because I would say in the first 20 minutes of the movie, going through her current life.
She's in New York when the movie starts.
Yeah, it's going through her normal routine and everything. And I go, I just don't care about this person. Like, they're not telling me why I should care about her, because she already has a freaking cool job. She travels and writes. She's a writer and she reviews hotels, or like I kind of got that, but then she does other things.
Is that why she started in Bali?
Well, yeah, because that threw me off. I thought this was a flashback kind of thing.
Me too, yeah.
And when it came down to her husband seemed like a normal husband
he's
guy.
a good guy.
He seemed like a really great guy.
A good guy.
Yeah, and like her friends seemed normal and they're encouraging. And then it was just like all of a sudden she had like a meltdown and she started crying and praying while crying. Like it was just I was like, where's this coming from? I don't understand where the negativity in her life is.
That was her Oscar. That was one of her many Oscar scenes. That I always wonder sometimes when they're filming, do they think like, oh yeah, here we go. Let me turn it on. Let me really kill it. And she was like, God.
Well, I did like the breakup scene.
Or in the bed?
In the bed. That was classic.
First off, who sleeps like that? So it's her and Billy Crudup laying in bed, and they just like lay 6 inches from each other face to face.
Yeah.
And then she gets up and leaves. And then when she comes back, she lays right face to face. He opens his eyes and he's like, "Where? I don't want to go to Tahiti or whatever." And she's like,
Aruba.
"I don't want to be in this marriage."
Yeah, she's like, "I don't want to be married." And you just see him like,
and then oops.
I'd be like, "What happened in the bathroom?"
Yeah. No, honestly, when
Did
she
I forget to flush the toilet?
Chris has had some big bathroom moments, but never that big.
You know, when she was melting down, I thought that's when the husband, being such a nice guy, was going to hear it and see that she's going through this pain.
Oh, and like comfort her?
And then be like, okay, if you want to take a break, we can do it. You know, like I see it. Now that I see it. But that was like one of the funniest scenes when they're in the law office.
When they're
like, because he was like,
the
"Oh, I wrote a song. It's for testimony." He's like,
yeah.
I'm sitting there going, "What? This guy's crazy too."
Did you kind of feel like Billy Crudup didn't know how to play this character?
Oh, easy.
Like he would be serious in some moments, and then he would be.
It's so poorly written. I'm sorry. So for any actor, it had to be a challenge.
Yeah, except for James Franco, who nailed it, right?
Yeah. Did they? Okay, if I missed it, did they ever go back to those characters? Did I miss that? Was there like an obvious scene?
Yes, at the end.
Like, was it?
No, she never goes back to him.
Yeah,
no, but they just, you talking about to show what they're doing.
Oh, he gets at the very end. They have like the 3-second cut where he's got like a wife and a kid or something.
Yeah.
Because remember, she was like, "I just know you'll be happy with someone else."
Yeah, and he's like, "I want to be happy with you," and he was acting like a 7-year-old in that scene. I'm not gonna lie. He was just like, "If I had to choose something, I choose you. I choose you." Yeah,
yeah. But what I didn't get about that is like, she's like, "We're prepared to offer you half of everything, including the house." And then he's like, "No, not good enough." And then she's like, "Well, then take everything." And when would that ever happen? You have like $1 million, or $1 billion,
including her retirement.
Yeah, including your retirement.
That's how much she hates you, man.
And then, take it all.
And then he goes, "Where did this come from?" Which is a reasonable question.
Yeah, very reasonable.
And she's just like, "I just don't want to do it anymore." And I'm like, "Whoa, dude, just take it and run, man."
But also, I feel like before you just say take everything, don't you have your lawyer some of this stuff?
Sure.
Right? You don't just say take it all, whatever it takes.
And but that's why I was wondering if they ever showed up, because like
I missed that she was rich. She was rich.
Yeah,
I missed that part. That's how she could travel the world for the year.
Well, because they made the comments about the husband switching jobs and doing some odd.
He's a dreamer,
things.
man. He's a dreamer.
And then it was just like they didn't really say, "Oh, we bought this house a year ago. It was a nice house."
Yeah, sorry, he wanted to go educate underprivileged children. Give me a break, Julia.
Well, you know, when we talked about our theory of what this movie was, like that's when I was like, "Oh, I was kind of spot on with this." Like, there's no actual reason for her to leave just because. Mm-hmm. I guess when she said the line, you know, since I've been 15, I've been either, you know, in a relationship, coming out of a relationship, going back into a relationship. I've never had a chance for me. And I'm thinking to myself, if you're at 15 and I think she was like 35, you think? How old do you think she was?
Whatever. I don't know.
I was like,
46.
She's got to be going insane.
Yeah.
Like, think about that. That's like 15 plus years of not like being you. Like, she's going to become a murderer. Like, that
would have been a better turn.
It would have been
much more interesting. Okay, real quick, we're gonna go to break in a minute, but I just want to talk about James Franco. This movie was 2 hours and 20 minutes. it could have been a perfect 2 hours if they had cut all of the James Franco stuff
Well,
out.
no, I asked that. I
It
wrote
was
that.
so
I wrote
stupid.
that
He
down.
was terrible.
I wrote that down. I'm like,
Why do people think he's a good actor?
I know. I just had second breakup. Like, why do we need? Because I'm trying to understand the journey of where she jumps off the cliff and goes to the new world.
It's because he taught her about the little picture of the woman, which I didn't really understand that either. But they all worship this picture
that was
of
the
the
guru.
woman.
It was the guru.
I know, but then she never appeared. But like he told her about that, I guess. But don't you think like getting a divorce, can't that be enough to make you want to go travel the world and find yourself? Like, why do you need to also break up with Franco?
Especially if your job is to travel the world and review things. Like I still have no sympathy for this character, and we're not even leaving.
We haven't even started the journey.
One thing before we go to break, I gotta ask. It's funny. I told Chris about this. The scene where James Franco, and I was like, why are we talking about James Franco? Like, what springboard is he offering? Well, the scene where he goes, yeah, this is my guru, and I've always wanted just to get up and go to India and like be in her class in the mornings, but like can't afford it. I can't afford it. Got
Shots cost
healthcare.
a couple $100.
Yeah, it's like all this stuff, and I go, well, there's the movie. Like this guy would be if you put her in the same scenario where like she couldn't afford it, it'd be stupid, it'd be but then she does it.
Instead, she's rich and there's no obstacles.
Yeah, there's zero obstacles.
everything just breaks her way.
She wants to get out of a relationship, and then she's like, and her job's already traveling the world, so she even has a great excuse. I wonder who paid for some of that stuff. Her going to Italy. I would not surprise if she calls her little magazine or whatever, and it's like, I'm going to go try to do this. Oh yeah, we'll pay 15 to 20% of it. Go for it.
Well, before we go to break, maybe one of my favorite parts of the whole movie is when we first meet James Franco and he's acting in the little troupe. And I guess did she write that play?
I was kind of
unclear.
There was a line about dolphins clapping,
but they're sitting there watching it, and about 30 seconds into what we see, this couple yells, "This sucks!" and they get up and walk out, and Franco's just trying to power through his lines or whatever.
I don't think that's been something that has not happened to him before.
I'm sure it has. I actually, what's great is I had just yelled "this sucks" and walked out right before that happened in the movie. So.
Yeah.
All right, we gotta go to break. When we come back, we're gonna talk about Rome,
Italy,
where we eat, India, where we pray, and Bali, where we love. So stick with us here on the Ticket Stub.
The Ticket Stub is brought to you in part by Movie Tavern, with 2 locations serving the greater Houston area. 18359 Tomball Parkway, just north of Willowbrook Mall, and 9630 FM 1960 Bypass West, across from Deerbrook Mall. The Ticket Stub is sponsored by Movie Tavern. Movie Tavern. Movies never tasted so good.
The Texas A&M AgriLife Extension Service has been dedicated to educating Texans for over a century. In 1915, the Extension Program was established under the federal Smith-Lever Act to deliver university knowledge and agricultural research findings directly to the people. Ever since, AgriLife Extension programs have addressed the emerging issues of the day, serving diverse populations across the state. Texans turn to Extension for solutions in horticulture, agriculture, 4-H and youth, and family and consumer sciences. Extension agents respond not only with answers, but also with resources and services that result in significant returns on investment to boost the economy. Join us Fridays at 1 o'clock for the AgriLife Extension Hour.
Health Center Southeast Texas is a federally qualified health center. We accept Medicare, Medicaid, and most major private insurances. For our self-pay patients, we have a sliding scale discount program available. Our health centers have qualified providers and staff striving every day to provide the best quality of care to our patients. Services offered are family medicine, behavioral health services, telepsychiatry, and pediatrics. We have 4 area locations. Look up the Health Center Southeast Texas online at hcset.com.
A Lone Star Community Radio is Montgomery County's radio station with talk, music, weather, and traffic for Montgomery County. Have a question or comment about one of our shows? Want to know how to reach a host? Just contact the station at irlonestar.com or call in and leave a message at 936-647-3776. Get involved with your community with Lone Star Community Radio.
We're back on the Ticket Stub. If you missed our last two segments, we started talking movie news, Han Solo, Top Gun, Happy Time Murders, and Puppets. We have also done the first bit of our group rewind of Eat, Pray, Love. We've gotten to the point where she has ruined all of her relationships for no reason and is going to travel the world. Before we go too far, we do want to remind you that we are brought to you, sponsored by the Movie Tavern.
Yeah.
Movies never tasted so good.
Eat, pray, love.
Eat, pray, love at the Movie Tavern.
Yeah.
Maybe don't love. I don't know. Just eat and pray.
Let's
Eat,
open
pray,
up
watch.
with that.
That could be there.
Let's open up with this.
Well, hold on. We got to do our ticket giveaways real quick.
Why? What can we do online? No, I'm just kidding.
Okay, ticket giveaways to the Taste Fest for commenting on our live video last week. Wes Smith, he usually gets the movie tickets, but now he's gonna get some Taste Fest tickets as well. And the grand ticket giveaway, we didn't really have an answer, I don't think, for our question, but also on the Taste Fest tickets, we had Brianna Donahoe commenting as well, interacting with the show. So we're gonna give her the grand tickets for this week for doing that. Later in the show, we'll talk about how you can win more grand tickets. But if you want to get, if you can pick them up day of next Thursday, you can get tickets to the Taste Fest by commenting on the live videos and sharing it with your friends. All right, we're hopping back into Eat, Pray, Love. Movie Tavern. Movies never tasted so good.
Going over to
Eat, Pray, movie. All right, now she starts. I'll do a little mini synopsis for each of the three segments. I don't remember why she goes to Rome, but she goes there because she's tired of looking good for men. She's tired of appeasing men, and she's just gonna eat, learn to enjoy life.
The line was, ever since I was young, when I was younger, like 15 younger, she's like, I remember eating food that I loved. Like it was part of who I was. It was part of the blood coursing through me, was eating good food. And then I guess she just ate crap food for 15
Well, she was
years.
like, that one scene in the pizza parlor, she was like, I counted every calorie and I hated myself for it. And I'm not going to do that anymore. I'm not going to be fat. But, she made sure to throw that in there.
I'm going to be in a relationship with this pizza.
Yeah.
That's what she said.
Which is
no, because the other girl
healthy.
was like,
Great writing.
I had to unbuckle my pants by looking at this food. And she goes, well, listen.
We're buying.
No, Julie Roberts goes like, well, listen. Whenever you're in those scenarios with those men and you're naked, do you see them running away? Do you see them making comments? No, they're just happy to be in front of a naked woman. And I'm like, there's some limitations to that.
Yeah, I would say that probably has its, there's probably a cap to that. This is easy for two very attractive women to probably say sitting in a pizza parlor.
Okay.
Come on, Chris, do it.
When she first gets to Rome and she meets whatever the interpreter dude or whatever, the guy that's going to teach her that, and his friend is named Spaghetti.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
Yes, it is.
Yes, it is.
Well, they're getting the haircut.
His friend is named Spaghetti.
The kind of overweight guy with the beard.
His name is Spaghetti. That's the kind of writing we have in this movie. That's like going.
I didn't even realize his name was Spaghetti.
But that's like going to Disneyland and meeting a guy named Johnny Magic Kingdom. I mean, that's so lazy. Like,
hi, my name's Burger.
Maybe that's true.
So, maybe it is, but okay. So that's number one of things that irritated me.
That's Spaghetti.
It's like, his name is Spaghetti.
Well, one of my favorite things about the Rome part was it's all about food. That was the premise of the book, I imagine. The premise of her going to Rome. She wanted to eat delicious food. Well, like the two main foods they show are like spaghetti and pizza.
Yeah.
And I'm like, all right, guys,
really branching out.
We're in Italy here. Like, there's got to be better food than just spaghetti and pizza.
They do those weird mushrooms.
That's like if I was 12 and I'm like, where do you want to go eat the best food? Oh, pizza. Where's the best pizza? It's in Rome or Napoli. That's where they were for.
I don't know if y'all have ever watched a show on Netflix called Comedians in Cars Getting
Yeah,
Gas.
I've seen it.
I love that show.
So it's really good, really great. But what it is it's Jerry Seinfeld and he'll take a comedian out to coffee.
Yeah.
And it'll be them talking and then it'll cut to like a 15 to 20 second scene of different coffee makers pouring coffee or people brewing coffee or stirring coffee. That's what most of this Rome scene was like to me, where it would be like them talking and then it would cut to a 45-second scene of dropping pasta into a frying pan and then pouring sauce on it Spaghetti and then grating Parmesan, and there was like a weird, like kind of a light music in the background. And you can like it.
Well, I will.
It was like a Food Network.
I will say this movie felt like a travel commercial. And at the end of the movie,
Rome.
I don't want to travel.
No,
like I didn't care.
Not
like
at all.
it didn't
I
work.
have
on
no
me.
interest in going to Italy after watching this.
Yeah, especially with the landlord lady.
Oh, the landlord.
Oh, you American women.
Yeah, so as soon as she gets there, she rents an apartment, some crappy rundown place, and she's hating on it in her mind. And the lady goes, "Don't be bringing strange men in here. All you American women want is pasta and sausage." And she says it all weird. And
she does, yeah.
What Okay, I guess that's a joke.
A great scene in the Rome part where was the haircut scene, because for some reason she has nothing to do all day, so she hangs out with her translator while he's getting his beard shaven with his other friend
Spaghetti
who goes on a little rant about Americans have no passion. They don't feel
I hate that crap. Yeah, they don't feel.
And I'd be like, I'm not taking any lip from a guy named Spaghetti. Forget it.
It wasn't even that, but like what was weird is they're doing a little montage of how the Italians feel passion. So through like their hand gestures and through their food. And then it showed men catcalling women,
spanking them on the rear end.
Yeah, and going, "Oh baby," like that. I'm like, wow, we should normalize this.
Well, this was before Me Too, though. This was back when it was funny. I'm just kidding.
Oh no, I mean that's a true statement. I mean that was just kind of funny that it like what encompasses Italy, men harassing women,
which is probably true. The coffee shop scene. Do y'all remember the where she meets her blonde friend? Is that a real thing?
No,
there was literally men crawling over them. I was watching with my girlfriend and she was like, "Are they at the stock exchange or something?" Because it looked like people were like coming over these girls to try to get their order of coffee. It seemed absolutely ridiculous.
Again, that was this first scene. I go, well, this isn't what would make me travel. Like, why would I ever want to go in there?
No.
And then the blue jeans scene is also pretty great. So the blonde girl that she meets, her friend, I forget her name, Mrs. Carbonara or whatever. They're there together, and the girl's like, "I don't want to get fat," and she's like, "No, get fat." She's like, "But I don't like it when my jeans don't fit." Then we'll buy new jeans. And then it cuts to montage of them trying on jeans. But what the heck? This is not how you try on jeans. She was laying on the floor, pulling them up while her friend was trying to button them. I mean, okay, so say you purchase those blue jeans. Is this your strategy every day now?
They don't fit.
Just get a bigger pair.
Yeah.
Get a bigger pair of jeans.
With elastic in it. That'd be fine. Room to grow.
Those do not fit you. Too small. You just said we'll buy bigger jeans. Well, then maybe you should. Maybe you should find a different pair.
All right, so we leave Rome.
We leave Rome. We go to India.
She's going to pray.
Where we pray. And so she ends up, so she finds this little Hindu place to meditate, center herself.
Yeah.
Did it seem strange to you that it was all white people that ran this place? Like, did you notice that the first part where she shows up in the room? It was
probably because when she went to Rome, she encountered a true Italian woman renting this crappy apartment that literally had scaffolding holding up. And she's probably like, you know what? Too authentic. I need to take a step back.
The guy that took her to the room was a white guy. The girl that was in silence that was making her bed, white woman. At one point when she goes to the little desk and she's in silence and then the lady's like, "Would you rather be a tour guide?" White woman talking to her there. I think every person that worked at this Hindu monastery was a white person. That was a little bit distracting for me. Me and the guy who wrote that article earlier, neither of us understand why there was so many white people involved.
Well, this is the first time she meets Richard Jenkins, who's fantastic actor. But
in most things,
but the dialogue they gave him was atrocious. The first time, I guess he sees, or they're sitting down and they're at lunch.
Oh god!
And she's got a lot of food on her plate. Some people consider a lot. I wouldn't.
Yeah.
But so he decides to give her a nickname. Okay, he gives her a nickname because she's eating so much food. So his nickname for her is Groceries. What in the world? That is in no way does that make any sense.
I could have seen that if he was foreign and like the translation gets lost somewhere.
But he's
from Texas.
Now I would be okay with it if he would have called her like Chomps or Tater or something.
Tater.
If he called her like
Tater.
If he called her Tater. If he called her Tater for the whole movie, like, but he called her Groceries for the rest of the movie. He called her Groceries. Just like, "Hey, come here, Groceries. I got to show you something."
Like, so surely that's what happened to this woman in real life. How could you make that up? It's so bad.
Yeah.
Groceries.
This movie was so great.
Yeah. So it reminded me of Lost. Did you ever watch Lost?
Yeah.
The TV show?
Sawyer
Sawyer would always call people like, he'd always call them, "Oh, hey, Freckles," or, like he'd have these weird nicknames. But at least they were like kind of descriptive of the person that he was talking about.
Yeah.
This is just, "Oh, you like food? Huh? Groceries. Okay." Like, what?
Well,
she didn't go shopping. It was a cafeteria.
Well,
they
that's
scooped
one thing,
the food onto her plate.
That's one thing throughout this movie that I wish they would have commented more on is the economics of her doing this, because she seemed never to have money issues.
Well, but you said she was rich.
I know, but like to the point where like it doesn't seem realistic for me to relate to this character.
I did wonder, like, so she just chilled all day, or did she work, or Was this Hindu place free?
Well, the guy in the beginning foreshadows that she would lose all of her money.
Oh, the toothless dude?
Yeah, so she must not have had any money.
Maybe
I was waiting for that actually.
It never,
and it never came up.
Financial trouble was never a plot point, as she was able to do any and everything that she wanted to do.
And which is like the basis of everyone's journey that to do this is like one of the biggest hurdles is, can I afford to do this?
Oh, that was entirely
there wasn't a hurdle at all.
Yeah, India, I would say she meditated a lot. This was probably the most boring part of a very boring movie. This was the most boring.
Unintentionally, she became the stereotypical American woman.
Yeah.
Think about that. Like people in India, like, what does this woman do? Oh, she just sits here all day. I mean,
the part where she's hanging out with Richard Jenkins and all of a sudden she's like dropping him off at the house and is like, okay, bye. And he's like, no, come up here.
Oh my God. That's my third thing. That's my third thing about this movie that I hate.
And then he just told her like the most depressing story. Where did that come from?
Oh, no. But the story is so great because he's telling the story about why his wife left him. And he's like, oh, I was at a bar one night and I was drinking.
Drunk.
And I should have taken a cab home, but I didn't. And my 5-year-old son was playing with his cars in the driveway. And I just came flying in that driveway. And you think
he's going to have killed his son.
He ran over his son. But then at some point he's like, no, he got out of the way, but that was just enough. That was just enough for the wife.
My wife saw it out the window and she thought, never again.
I was like, what? That is the worst. You know, I think what happened is it originally was he killed his son.
But
and by the time they got to filming, they were like, no, he would be in jail for like 20 years. He would never be able to make it to India. And they were like, well, let's just keep the story the same. Kid got out of the way. Wife's just not like, I got drunk and I slapped her.
That's one thing that's missing from this movie was a death.
Yeah.
Because that's what we're talking about. I can understand someone going a little bit more questioning in their self and their spirit if someone had died. And
no death.
But there was zero death.
No. The only hardship was in her head. Like there was no one rejected her. There wasn't money problems. There wasn't death. She didn't get fired. Nothing bad happened to this woman. She's just unhappy because she's a brat or something. I don't.
Well, this is similar. Like when I judge people by their movie tastes, this is definitely going to be one of those movies. Like if you like this character, because like I remember back in high school, there was this young lady who I enjoyed, but one of her favorite characters was Holly Golightly in Breakfast at Tiffany's.
Oh yeah.
And I was just like, wait a second, what? Like you actually like that character? I don't know if you've ever seen that movie.
I have not seen Breakfast at Tiffany's. Or if I have, it's been a long time.
It's like one of the most selfish people.
Okay.
In a character.
Is it the main character?
The main character.
I have seen that, but it's been a long time.
And this is one of those movies. It's like I just don't get why I need to care. Like this movie would be a lot better if somebody took her hostage, or something. Something like
she gets abducted.
Something that gets a little wild. And Liam Neeson's in the movie. Like.
Okay, we need to move on to Bali, but before we do need to mention the flashback to her wedding. She's meditating at one point, and she flashes back to her wedding with Billy Crudup, who again seems like a really great guy,
fantastic gentleman.
And so they're like, we want to present for the first time Mr. and Mrs. Billy Crudup to the dance floor, and they come out, and then she's like, are you ready for this? And he's like, yeah. Oh wait, this isn't the right song. And he's like, oh, let me go tell the DJ. And he does that thing where he like spins around. And he's like, woo! And he's like dancing all around her and stuff. Yeah. And then it cuts to the DJ who has one earphone on, and he's like, wiggle over here, like to this. That was the cringiest part of this entire stupid movie.
No, I can see Ryan Murphy writing the screenplay and was like, because when you write screenplays, I'm at that level. I imagine they know how to frame a character and an arc and all that kind of stuff. And I bet he was having fights with this woman who wrote this book. He's like, I need some conflict. I need some reason why we're caring about you. It's like, no, this is what really happened.
No, this is it.
This is it.
Absolutely nothing happened.
He just,
and Oprah loved this book, so you have to write the movie.
mean, like, I bet that guy was like sitting there going, like, okay, that's fine.
Maybe he loved it.
This is gonna be the straightest line for a movie. It's like, all right.
Okay, so we just got a few minutes to talk about the Bali portion here. So I don't remember. Oh, she goes to Bali to get with the guru guy again. She'd been there once before, I guess. While she's there, she reconnects with the toothless guru who gives her advice on a regular basis. She meets some healer woman that she helps get a house and whatever. Okay, fine. She emails her friends like, hey, send me your birthday instead of a present. Send me some just cash, whatever. $18,000. Okay, I guess she's got a lot of friends or very rich friends.
What? I missed that.
That she built that house for that healer woman, her little friend.
Oh, it's okay. That's okay. I was like,
Yeah,
wait a second.
She sent letters
she sent her friends 18,000. I don't remember that.
No. They sent her 18,000 to give to a random woman they've never met just because of her birthday email. She meets Javier Bardem. They start to date. And again, there's several of these that are like the greatest scenes in the movie.
In her mind, they started dating.
They're in separate rooms at one point reading books. He just all of a sudden puts his book down, gets up, goes to the record player, puts on some, kind of seductive music, walks over to her and says, "It's time." And then she stands up and they make love. And that is the first time that they sleep together. What?
I thought they were going to fly the Concorde.
He said
it's business time.
Yeah, there you go.
He just walked up and goes, "It's time." And she's like, oh okay. I guess it's time.
You think that would work?
You should
try that out.
Please try that.
We should try that out.
It's time. So, I mean,
I think this woman's insane.
What are your thoughts? We have a 2 minutes to talk about Bali. What are your thoughts about the Bali portion where she falls in love?
I think it
speechless.
No, what's funny about it is it reminded me of the first two guys. I was like, nothing was really different in her discovering the love. It was the same basic person.
He'd been divorced before, so like he kind of got her maybe.
No, like there was no difference between their interaction and like James Franco. Like something got her sparkle in her eye, and then it would just happen. He just like she just lets it happen, and then 10 years from now she's gonna be like, it wasn't me. I need to. She, ironically, I know we're going to be closing out the show.
Yeah, tell us what happens after.
So
this is a real woman.
I was
Liz,
curious.
man.
I was like, when I found out it was a book, I was curious to see about this woman and read more about her. So here's a little. This is a true story. So in July 2016, the real Elizabeth announced the end of her marriage to the Javier Bardem's character, who at the end of the movie they get married or whatever. They end up together. Yeah. And then
sail off into the sunset.
Yes. And then and the reason for the marriage's breakup was she's fallen in love again with her best friend, Raya Elias, who is a musician lady. And the reason they fell in love is when
perfect sense.
When they've been friends for 15 years. And then when Elias was diagnosed with cancer, she became more of a love in her life than ever. And she wanted to dedicate the rest of Elias's life to being there with her.
That makes perfect sense. She was gay the entire time.
No wonder she kept cheating.
I didn't think about that.
Breaking up with all these guys.
My God.
She was conflicted. She was
a
conflicted lesbian, and she was trying to make it work with
what's
men.
Strange, if the movie did end that way, it would be a more respectful movie in my mind. Like, that's growth.
Yeah.
I did not see growth in this movie. I just saw a lady who's completely selfish, and she wanted to go on her own journeys, which she could have before she went to cause all this trouble with other people's lives. And then she could have enjoyed herself. Like, what stopped her from doing that?
I don't know. I thought there was going to be like a big light bulb moment where she realized, but it really didn't feel like there was. I mean, I guess at the end she realized like I just have to let myself love or whatever it was. I don't know.
Yeah, and then the same love though. Like this guy wasn't like he didn't tap something into her that made her blossom more or anything like that, and clearly didn't because she's gay. So. I mean, like that to me would have been a better ending. Like, would you agree with that?
Yes.
I would say yeah. All right, Chris, final thoughts about the movie?
It was horrible.
Yes.
I don't recommend anyone see this ever again.
Period.
All right. If you like this movie, please let us know.
Please.
And please let us know why.
And we will just roast you endlessly.
Like, I tried to like it. I really did. Like, Julia Roberts. Okay, like that was one thing that I will say about the movie. Julia Roberts, whatever script you give her, she can deliver it. Like, it could be crap. It could be the worst dialogue. She can deliver. All she does is has to add that cackle, and then deliver the crap line. And then I'll be like, all right, I can get to the next scene. Because there was a long time when she got to Bali, India, when nothing was really different in her behavior, I was like, she's not growing for me. Like, I don't care. Like, if someone grabbed her hostage, I'd be like, this movie's getting good now.
It was definitely something that I'm glad to not have to watch ever again. For next week, okay, Eat, Pray, Love. We're wrapping that.
I think I might watch that Steel Magnolias scene where she goes through epilepsy or whatever. And I'm like, there we go.
There we go.
I feel a little better.
That's some acting. For next week, a couple things. First off, if you want to win tickets to the Grand Theater Movie Tavern, by the way, sponsored by the Movie Tavern. Movies never tasted so good. Eat, Pray, Movie is their new tagline that we've added today on the show. In honor of Ocean's 8, which comes out, ironically, double in honor of Ocean's 8 next month for our group rewind. Did we decide that?
That's our group rewind.
We're going to do Ocean's 8. It's a summer blockbuster. We wanted to do kind of a summer movie. It'll be in theaters all month. It opens up next week. It'll be in theaters pretty much the whole month of June. So get to the theaters, watch Ocean's 8. Chris is excited.
I am excited.
I am not. I think it might be worse than this one that we just had to watch.
One movie. I know we're running out of time. One movie though, I asked some folks what is equivalent to the male version of Eat, Pray, Love, and they said The Razor's Edge with Bill Murray, 1984. He had everything and wanted nothing. He learned that he had nothing and wanted everything. He saved the world, and then it shattered. The path to enlightenment is as sharp and narrow as a razor's edge. I'm gonna check that movie out between now and Ocean's 8. So I'm really looking forward to that because this movie, it was so boring. I was like, there's got to be a guy version of this movie.
That synopsis was just like 6 little like quips that would be in like some proverb book or something like that added together. So for next week, if you want to win tickets to the Grand Theater or Movie Tavern, here is the question. While Sandra Bullock was working on the 1996 movie To If by Sea, she discovered she was allergic to what animal? So tweet at us, let us know, and you can win 2 tickets to the Grand. Also, if you comment and like on the live, you can win tickets to Taste Fest, but you got to pick them up next Thursday as we announce the winner. For next week, I'm not going to be here. Y'all are going to watch. Y'all have movies you have to pay off for next week, right?
Yeah. What was my Ravenosaur?
Ravenous dinosaur, Ravenosaur. And Chris, you're watching
The Green Lantern.
All right.
Ryan Reynolds.
Woo! I won't be here next week, but you'll still have chances to win tickets to the Grand Theater as well as Movie Tavern. And remember, next month we are doing Ocean's 8 for our group Rewind. Make sure you tell a friend about the show, and we will see you guys next week. For Chris, for Dick, my name is Connor. We're signing off on the Ticket Stub.
Never said nothing about LA while I got here on a hot day. Took a look around, said, well, now nobody here looks like you anyway. Told me Ventura's the place, so I rented a place. Stuck a handful of flowers in a Goodwill vase. Said right out loud, girl, you're home, and this is what it feels like all alone. You ain't in this living room, sleep on the old green couch. You ain't in this kitchen, dragging all the dishes down.